The ocean was calm that evening, a serene blanket of blue stretching infinitely. Jake, Sarah, Mark and Eliza had planned this trip for months. A fishing expedition turned oceanic getaway aboard a rented boat. Their laughter echoed across the water as they toasted their first catch. But just before sunset, they noticed something on the horizon, a massive rusted vessel sitting eerily still in the middle of nowhere. As they approached, the words "the silent tide" became visible on its side, faded but legible. The ship was a towering relic of another time, its corroded exterior speckled with barnacles and seaweed. Despite its appearance, there was no sign of distress, no flag, no signal. Curiosity got the better of them. Against their better judgment, they decided to board the derelict ship. A ladder dangled precariously, inviting them up. Once aboard, they found the deck slick with algae and damp wood, creaking under their weight. A strange stillness filled the air, broken only by the soft lap of waves against the hull. They ventured inside, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The corridors were narrow and damp, the walls lined with peeling paint and streaks of rust. Rooms were in disarray, as though abandoned in a hurry. Chairs overturned, personal belongings scattered. In the captain's quarters, they discovered a logbook on the desk, its leather cover warped with age. Jake opened it, reading aloud. Day 36. The crew is restless. They hear voices at night whispering from the water. I fear we are no longer alone. Eliza shivered, muttering about turning back, but the others pressed on. They entered the galley, where a dining table was eerily preserved, set for a meal that was never eaten. Plates crusted with mould sat beside rusting utensils, and one chair was pushed back as if someone had abruptly stood up. The ship groaned loudly, the sound reverberating through the hull. The group froze. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered. Then came the whispers, faint and indistinct, seeming to drift from the shadows. Jake dismissed it as the wind, but the others weren't so sure. They pressed deeper into the ship, the air growing colder and heavier with every step. In the engine room, they found water flooding the floor. Mark shone his flashlight into the dark pool and recoiled as something large rippled just below the surface. "We need to leave." "Now," he said, voice shaking. But when they turned to retrace their steps, the corridors seemed different. What was once a straight path was now a twisting maze of rusted metal. Panic set in as they realized the way out had vanished. The whispers grew louder, turning to guttural moans. Figures began to emerge, pale, bloated apparitions with hollow eyes and mouths gaping as if screaming silently. They reached out with waterlogged hands, leaving trails of seaweed and brine as they moved. Jake screamed as one figure grabbed his wrist, its icy grip numbing his arm instantly. The ship lurched violently, throwing them against the walls. The sound of rushing water filled the air as the boat began to sink. Mark was the first to vanish, dragged screaming into the flooded engine room by an unseen force. Eliza stumbled, clutching Jake's arm, but another figure emerged, blocking their path. Its face was grotesque, its features distorted as though submerged underwater for decades.